This is Louis Banta, supported by Elaine Inocencio in this short session on collaborating towards engaging and productive virtual meetings. How do we connect stress with our topic on virtual meetings? If we are not able to really adapt and be flexible enough to really achieve this, engaging in productive virtual meetings, it will lead to a lot of stress. In fact, we have a lot of stressful moments. Just checking how many do we have right now. Yes, our numbers are increasing. Let me show you something that you may have seen in social media already, a conference call bingo sheet. Okay? What I did was to put numbers in all of these from 1 to 25. Okay? Out of the 25 lines that we have said often in the past 7 months, my pet peeves are the following. And let me encircle Louis Banta's stressful moments in video calls. For me, somebody typing vigorously in the background or construction noise that I can hear, loud, painful echo and feedback, technical glitches, we can't explain it sometimes why it happens, children running at the background, playing, shouting at each other. And in these days of online classes, yes, the teacher in the online class of your kid competing for your attention as you strive to listen to your meetings. The most frequently mentioned line of 2020, perhaps, I'm sorry, I was on mute, or sorry, I was having connection issues, and all these 3 others that you can see. And to add to what I have here, what's also one of my frustrations is when I hear the sound of an electric fan. So focused on the gadget's microphone. Sounds like a whirring sound. Sounds like a typhoon. That's, especially if you're wearing earphones or AirPods, it's really so unpleasant. Please, whoever has experienced that, whoever can relate to me and also finds that unpleasant, especially the electric fan example, please chat with me and type in relate. Type in relate. If you can also relate, I hate the sound of an electric fan focused on a gadget microphone. Relate or relate much. Of course, you may have your own version, dogs barking at the background or roosters crowing at the background. Yes, we all have them now. But these are mine. And I'd like to ask now our 89 participants in the room, what's yours? I attached a number so that you can easily chat with me. Please choose your top 3. What are your top 3 sources of stress coming from our conference call bingo items here? Waiting for the chat room. Type in the numbers. Just type in the numbers. No need to type in the phrases here. Type in the numbers. Which one? Top 2 or top 3? I got from William, 3, 5, and 18. Is blank on the call, so you're looking for people. 5, hey guys, I have to jump to another call, which means that the call is extending, but people have a next meeting. 18, I have a hard stop. Michelle said 23, 13, 17. 23, I'm having connection issues. 17, sorry, I'm late. And of course, you can no longer use traffic as an excuse. Maybe you already have your own original list there. I was cooking. Yes, I had to set up online classes. But it's time for compassion as well. We're talking of stress today. Everybody's stressed one way or another. And we may not know what people are struggling with. Yes. And as more and more responses are still coming in, wow, we're filling the chat room. You can see the most vibrant chat room that perhaps you may have seen in any virtual meeting. Yes, imagine 100 people responding here. But I'll just go back to that serious note that I'd like to make. Even if I'd like to run this light and fun, because this definitely has to be light and fun, we don't know what people are struggling with when they log into a video call. You may see smiling faces there. Yes, but they're also getting pressured by a lot of distractions and interruptions that are bombarding their attention. Time for us, whether you're a leader or you are a team member, it doesn't matter. Time for us to really collaborate and have empathy on each other. Show some flexibility or some compassion. We will understand and support each other regardless of this. But please pick one or two or three techniques from what we will share today so we can avoid these sources of stresses and frustration. You know, all of these can actually be categorized based on two sources. Okay? And I'm showing you the slide where these sources can come from. Just want to check my connection with the participants. Are you still with me? If you're still with me, please give me a thumbs up. For those whose videos are turned on, I can see a thumbs up. A lot of the frustrations are definitely contributed by the team members. Let's show them. I will not go through all of this. And if you are a team member, you are guilty of the following, any or a combination of the following. And for the past 7 months, I told you, been running webinars since April 1. Reach our 100 webinar in less than 2 months. And now 200 plus. Internet has always been the frequently cited issue. I would like to park that on the side because there's still nothing we can do about that right now, especially when you're in a call. We may cite it as a complaint or a frustration. Unfortunately, especially perhaps in our home countries, here in the Philippines, we don't have the most reliable internet connection. But the mindset should be, we will make the most of what we have. Okay? And you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 there. Anyway, you'll receive a copy of this handout. Although you can feel free to take screenshots or photos of these slides. As a team member or meeting attendee, you also contribute to these frustrations. However, if I have leaders in the house, okay, who are the team leads and managers up who are here with us? If we have team leads and managers who are here with us, please type in me, type in ME. If you are a team lead, manager and above, please type in ME. Wow, we do have leaders in this virtual room. That's why the perfect word is collaboration. Whether you are facilitating the meeting, leading the meeting, or whether you are just there as a contributor, it's a two-way joint responsibility. As a presider, as a leader, if you're not prepared for the role, and if you do not have the facilitation skills that are needed, that will also lead to a lot of frustrations. So having set this background, I know that you may have already developed your own practices, tips, and techniques in the past 6, 7 months. Running virtual team meetings is actually a combination of two skills, and independently, we have these skills. We have the skills of running and participating in face-to-face meetings. For the longest time in our lives, we've been doing this. For the leaders in the room, you've attended previous training on how to run meetings. But the tweaks that we need to do is because these meetings now happen back to back to back to back to back, all through audio or video. I just mentioned back to back to back to back meetings. Can you relate? If you can relate, please type in yes. Please type in yes if you can relate to the back to back to back to back meetings. A reality, regardless of industry, regardless of company, local or global, everybody's surviving and even thriving. Yes, we've had lots of opportunities even during this time. Okay? Now, before I jump to the detailed tips and techniques, I'd like to share with you what Louis Banta's right mindset is in this work from home setup. Okay? Mindset, attitude, or perspective. You have two attendees in a video meeting. One saying, internet is a problem. In-person presence is not here. So difficult to communicate with. would you rather focus on the problems, or would you rather focus on what we have right now? Imagine if this happened, if this pandemic, extended pandemic happened 20 years ago or 50 years ago. Yes, could you imagine the struggle that we had? So thank you, at least we have technology. Technology is here. We just need to adapt our behaviors. If you're a leader, adapt your leadership style. If you're a leader, I'm talking to the leaders in the room, you cannot, you will not, you should not micromanage people during this time. And why do I need to emphasize that? There's a tendency, I can't see my teammates. Yes, what are they doing? Are they doing the work? Are they watching Netflix? Are they playing Mobile Legends, correct? Or are they sleeping in the house? There could be that. I'm not saying all. It could cross your thoughts. Yes. And I know some leaders, I've trained so many companies in the past 7 months, that was their biggest struggle or pain point. Now, if you're a teammate, assure your leader that your work ethic is there, the discipline of working at home is there. Yes? So it's really a collaboration. Adapt leader behaviors. Leaders will have to be firm and compassionate during these times. And team members would really have to step up on showing your responsibility and diligence. If you do not reply to messages, if you do not even attend and participate in calls, your leaders may really think otherwise. Mindset number 2, we will make do with what we have. In the past 6 or 7 months, I needed to continue my training business. This is not just a meeting tool for me. This is bread and butter for 20 people in my company. So regardless of the constraints, I have to make do with what we have. I can't see you. I don't know if you're listening to me. So I scroll left and right on the video thumbnails. I will make do with what I have. I don't know whether you're connected. You can relate to what I'm saying. I ask questions and I see your responses in the chat room. I will make do with what we have. Yes, for the meantime, this is the only or the most dominant or only way we'll really have to communicate. And I'm sure even until 2021. So mindset 3 is also important because you're learning some techniques. Maybe you've watched in YouTube, you've read an internet article, you had previous training in the past months. We have a diverse group here, by the way. We have staff members, we have team leads, managers, and above. Even if you picked up one thing or two before, always ask, what else can I do? If my team and I are struggling, if I've injected something new in May and June and my team is now bored, I need to have something more engaging, always think, what more, what else can I do? And with this mindset, ready to share with you the principles. But wait, Elaine. Oh, somebody wants to speak? Does somebody want to share something? Somebody went on, somebody just unmuted? Maybe unintentionally. Okay. Look at this right mindset, my dear SPI Global family. Which of these mindsets do you like most? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Given our limitations in this work at home setup, which of these mindsets do you like most? Please type in the chat room. I'm getting 2 from Anthony, 3 from Suresh, Jerlyn, and hi. I'm getting 3. I'm getting 2 and 3. Okay, finally we have ones. Yes, the right perspective combined with the right techniques will be very powerful combination. Now, some principles to achieve engaging in productive virtual meetings. I'd like to share 3 principles. Principle number 1, over-communicate before the meeting so that we communicate less during the video meeting. What does this mean? Before pre-COVID days, when we are in one conference room or when operations is just on the production floor, where you can just really literally huddle and put your seats together, you can extend meetings as needed. But right now, again, because it is happening back to back to back, yes, and people should not experience Zoom fatigue, you've heard of the term Zoom fatigue, it's important that we really maximize the discussion given a 30-minute meeting. If you would ask me what the duration of an ideal meeting is, not more than 1 hour, 30 minutes is actually good for a 2 to 3 agenda item meeting. But of course, it depends on the depth and the number of participants that you can have. If you need to extend your meeting beyond 1 hour, you need to take at least a 5-minute break. And what do you do in a 5-minute break? You get a toilet break, a coffee break, or email or cell phone break for those who need to check emails. Or in my case, I look out my window here and do my simple eye exercises to avoid my eye strain. This has really taken a toll on our health as well. So please protect your eyes. Over-communicate before the call, reminders, assignments, so that people come prepared in the video meeting. Because the meeting should be discussion time, not thinking time. Before COVID, we go to the meeting, what's the agenda? And we think in the meeting, and that prolongs the meeting. Can't be in this virtual time. How many would agree to what I just said? If you agree, please type in agree. We can no longer really think in the meeting. The agenda, assignments, questions should be sent before the meeting so people can prep their ideas. Thank you. I'm getting a lot of agreements there. Let's go to principle number 2. Promoting LJMBAS 4 C's of effective communication. We actually had 8 C's, but relevant to virtual meetings are the first 4 C's, which would be correct, complete, clear, and concise. What we really need to achieve today is not just engaging and productive meetings, but also shorter meetings. We need to have shorter meetings. Yes? And we even need to challenge, do we need to have a meeting in the first place? Okay? So I will have a separate slide on that in a while. Shorter meetings can be achieved if we give correct information. Because if our information is not correct, you will get questions such as, are you sure of that data? Where did you get that data? Incorrect information adds more questions and adds more answers. It prolongs meetings. You do not give complete information, the audience asks for more information. Your communication is not clear, people will clarify because they're confused. If you do not talk concisely or on point, yes, then people will say, oh, can you please repeat that? I had a lag issue. My dear leaders and teammates, it's really important to speak in short sentences in this virtual time. Because if you give a long sentence and you get cut off by the internet connection, that means repeating that long sentence again. Take a look at our A-B tips here. My favorite tips, not just from theory, I use this personally. My team knows that I would always ask them categorical answers. I cannot ask more open-ended, not unless I really need to know the opinion of the person. Especially if I have short meetings, I just need to know, how many agree? Please type in agree, which is what we're doing in the chat room. Okay? Do I hear a yes or no? We have a proposal on the table. Do we have a yes or no? Unmute. For those who are saying yes, please say yes. And then for those who are saying no, control in meetings is very important. I have preempted myself because principle number 3 is about call control. For CSRs, for those who are taking calls, call control is important. The same in meeting control. And not just the yes or no, if I want people to really explain that. People in my meetings already know the script. They say yes, on point, and agree, disagree, and then provide that reason. You know how Asians go? I talk about Asians in general, or Filipinos in particular. Sometimes we're asked a question answerable by yes or no. Have you done this? Before saying yes and no, which is what the question really asks for, we'll give a long explanation before even saying yes or no. You want engaging productive meetings? Be on point. I also have this habit of giving more suggestions and instructions than asking questions. The reds, please avoid. And we hear this all that, can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? You know the effect of asking questions. When you ask questions and you have too many people in the room, people will not answer because they're waiting for somebody else to answer. Everybody's sensing, okay, there was a question asked. Okay, who will answer? Who will answer? Dead air, long meetings, boring meetings. Yes? Another question. When you're presenting, can you see my slides? Can you see my slides? It's so frustrating for the presenter because nobody will ask a question. Okay? You may want to add, have mercy, please have mercy and answer me. But no. Louis Banta and the LJMB team, even Elaine, everybody in the team, it is automatic. Please say yes if you can see the slides. In a few seconds, you get a yes. For those who can hear me, please say yes. I'm not just talking about theory. It's a technique that I've proven. It works, so you can proceed to the next one. I'll stop as of this point. Are we still making sense? Please type in sense. If I am making sense, please type in sense. All right. Okay. Getting a lot of sense here. Yes, because yep, your meetings should be engaging and productive. I owe you sensible tips. Let's proceed to the next one. And the next one is prepare and write talking points so you can avoid fillers. Yes? Imagine if there are lots of this is Louis. My suggestion is, I've been talking about very frustrating. What I have here with me, let me just show you what my setup here. What I have with me is a desktop. And on my desktop, I have my talking points. I have all the references that I need to use. Yes? Because if the meeting has to be on point, I have to be on point. Less time thinking. I will write my talking points before the meeting so I can just glance while I look at the camera. Also, best practice is looking at the camera more often than not and then glance on your talking points. Makes a lot of sense. Number 3, to close the principles, is to build and sustain call control. And the remainder of our discussion until 3 o'clock will be how you will control from pre-meeting to the meeting proper. Let's put all of these 3 principles together on one slide. One slide. We will utilize the chat room. You're familiar with the poll feature already, the poll question. So I set that aside for today because what I'd like to demonstrate is the power of the chat room. Which of these you're looking at what we've discussed so far? Type in the chat room your biggest takeaway so far. Let's wait for the takeaways. Which of these? So many so far. Okay, number 1. Okay. I'm getting 1. Okay, I'm getting 2. I'm getting 2. See, I have just created a habit. Yes, because I placed numbers on the slide content, you know that you need to type the numbers. And this is what we need to do. Create new habits in this virtual setup, which makes it easier. Okay? Some people say, just want to share, some people say, how do you know that the participants are engaged? They're not speaking. I don't need to hear you speak. Either I look at your video or see your activity in the chat room. Thank you, acknowledging those who said, okay, to each his own. Of course, some things are new to you and some you have already been doing. Okay? It's half the time. I'm at 2:33. Is it so far so good? If it's so far so good, please type in SFSG. If it's so far so good, please type in SFSG. All right. Okay. Do you notice you no longer remove your hands on the keyboard? See? So that's engagement. Okay? I'm going to ask you a question. Simple things, right? Doesn't have to be rocket science. Okay? But if you just talk and the others are not doing anything and are just waiting for the next presenter and you allow them to take out your videos all the time, they will really be disengaged. So just giving you a lot of hope here that call control is also best supported by 3 steps in a meeting. Let's show these 3 steps: pre-call, call proper, and post-call. And as always, life could be divided into what you do before, what you do during the activity, and what you do after it, as all contributing to the success. Okay? Let me caution you, a lot of the things that I might say may not be new to most or to others, especially to our senior leaders. Maybe it's a good refresher with some tweaks on how we will do them in this virtual setup. Number 1, whether you're a leader or you are a teammate, make sure that you are aligned with the meeting rules. Or do you have meeting rules? Does your meeting rule cover most of the things, the behaviors that are problematic in meetings? Even prior to COVID, we have this handout. It's actually a laminated handout in the office, the LJMB meeting rules. And promise, whether it's a town hall or whether it's a departmental meeting, we start all of our meetings with a run-through of the meeting rules. Let's start our meeting. Good morning. Okay, Louis, please read meeting rule number 1. So, especially if you're a TL and you really want to engage your staff level teammates, of course, if you talk about senior management meetings, this is part of senior leaders' behavior. But if you're a TL, staff level meeting, you ask them to read this, they feel they're involved, right? Or you assign somebody to be a rule monitor person. Yes? Roles, not just minutes of the meeting, not just leaders of the meeting. What about a timer? Have you even thought of having a timer in your meeting so your meeting will not extend? What about quote for the day? Quote for the day, teammate. You know what? In our Viber group, especially during this pandemic, because we don't see each other, I have assigned our HR person to give us quotes for the day every day at 8:30. Okay? At this time, roles, if people have roles, that's a better way to engage them. What assignments do we need to think about? If there are questions to be resolved, problems to be resolved in the meeting, send pre-reads, send 1 to 2 pager, send an email with 3 guide questions so people can prepare their ideas. Have everything ready. I have my water bottle here. I have my cup of coffee. Yes. I have all my chargers within reach. Yes. Because I can't be interrupted, correct? In fact, my landline here is just really close, in reaching distance. So if somebody calls the phone and it rings, I could answer it while I'm having a webinar. Those are the usual distractions and interruptions. Sometimes the households are so big, you can delegate to some people. For some, you would have to do everything by yourself. Some of you may even live in condo units, right? Smaller families, for spouses, and nobody else to help you out. Log in early. Emphasis on no multitasking, please. This is one of the contributors in Zoom fatigue when you multitask. Why? You're listening to a meeting, you're bombarded with that auditory stimulus, and then you're doing something else on the side, and then you get called, and it increases your stress because, I got called, I don't know what to answer. So stress buster session, remember? So all of these tips should minimize your stress. Develop the habit of mute and unmute. Mute and unmute. So frustrating. You've been talking for 2 minutes, no? And everybody's quiet. What happened to him? Is he still alive? Oh, you're waiting in suspense. It should be a very powerful statement. And then you realize the person is on mute and maybe has already been disconnected in the meeting. Yes. So in my team, very simple. If we call people and they do not talk in 5 seconds, somebody, it doesn't have to be me, somebody will say, you might be on mute. We would need to call each other out. Instead of wondering, which wastes time. Okay? So far, so good. Are we doing so far, so good? So far, so good. Perfect. I'm looking at thumbs up sign here. Okay. Let's go to step number 2. Step number 2 is very simply understand the meeting plan. I give you a template here. You will have this in your e-handout. Leaders, when you call for a meeting, at least do you have a plan? What is the objective of the meeting? Why are we having a meeting in the first place? Take whether 15-minute huddle, regular 30, 45-minute, and 60 minutes. Louis, 45 minutes, of course, it's best to give people some few minutes to hop into their next call. Attendees, roles. If you have a team of 10 and 5 of them have roles, imagine you've already automatically engaged 5 people. Yes? And of course, you have your list of topics there. The duration is there. You can give this to the timer, the person with the timer role, so that person can observe the proceedings of the session. Now, do we need to have a meeting in the first place? The next slide would answer that. Do we need to have a meeting in the first place? Because a meeting is synchronous communication, meaning everybody has to be in the same platform at the same time. Utilize asynchronous communication so well. Before the meeting, utilize asynchronous communication. That's the over communication before the meeting. Share information needed, jump into the synchronous meeting, and then the documentation follows after. Now, step 3 is, and I may have previewed a lot of the other things that I will mention already. List down your talking points and questions so you will not forget them. So you will also just glance on your notes and be on point with what you're saying, such as what I'm doing right now. From time to time, I'm referring to my notes here. And minutes before the meeting, make sure that you prepare yourself. You may have come from a tense meeting, emotionally charged meeting. You're bringing all of your negative vibes with you. Cannot be. Yes. So, before you log in, needed to have a sip of coffee, drink some water, wash your face, get ready for the next one. Your tech, check your microphones, check your cameras, make sure they're all working. And your video angle is also important, as well as your background and lighting. And in the next slide, we have some examples here of what not to do. The source of light should be in front of you, because if it's behind you, what people see is a silhouette. Be aware of your body language during your video meetings. Okay? And the video angle should be, the appropriate one is eye level. Eye level. Okay? Because it may not be too flattering if it's coming from up above or coming from, especially if you put a laptop on the table, the camera is most likely facing you at a 45-degree angle. Yes, so it practically shows your neck and your face. Should really show your full face, full head. And in my case, especially because I use gestures, it's important that when I raise my hand like this, the same for team leads, because when you use gestures, it adds visual emphasis to what you're saying. Zoom is very powerful. In fact, of all the 11 platforms that we've tested 11 platforms: MS Teams, WebEx, Skype, Zoom. There are a lot others. I like it because there are a lot of features. Yes, whiteboard, where you can annotate. Poll questions are built in. Otherwise, you'll have to go out for menti.com. Have you tried breakout rooms? How many of you have tried breakout rooms? Please type in me if you have tried breakout rooms. Okay. Oh, some people have tried breakout rooms already in Zoom. Okay. So, Elaine, let's skip this one. Some people have tried it already. Yes, you can just explore in Zoom, because if nobody here has tried breakout rooms, we would have an exercise for breakout. Let's skip that, Elaine, and let's go to the fifth tip. The fifth tip is preventing interruptions at home. Okay? I just like you to fill the chat room with what are the interruptions that can happen. You are in front of the video meeting. What can cause you to stop broadcasting and to temporarily leave your workstation? Please type in the chat room. What can happen? Kids, check. especially on deliveries, check. Either it's a food delivery, Grab or Lazada or Shopee. Call of nature, definitely. Yep. Internet connection, or worse, a power outage. Yes, or brown out. Family members calling attention if you are with the elderly, or if you are, let's say, the youngest of the kids and you have to wash the dishes. Yes, household chores. I'm not saying household chores. I'm not saying it, right? But it's part of the reality. So try this. Relocate home office space where it's conducive. Yes. Don't compete for attention. Inform family members in advance. And if they're really critical meetings or important meetings, it may not happen 8 hours for a day. Yes? Put a DND sign, do not disturb sign. Of course, I cannot be disturbed, so I have a DND sign outside. It says, I am in a webinar. Please do not disturb in all caps. If they only come in for emergency reasons. And this is also the period we're in. You would need to have good relations with your family members. Why? Because you would need to delegate to your siblings or delegate to people at home, taking care of either babies or pets, or getting the door for deliveries that you may have arranged. Pre-call is already 50% of the success. Let's show them, Elaine, our pre-call tips. And which do you think of these tips will you apply immediately after this workshop? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, some you've already been doing. Let's wait for some responses. Which of these will you be applying? So Ruban said number 1. Okay, I'm saying a lot of number 1. And then number 5. Some are saying number 2. You don't like number 3 and 4? Okay. Number 4 is important, especially the video angle. The background that I have here, if you notice, just a quick note, my background, my personal take here is it should not be too exciting to cause a visual distraction. If I put a stunning photo here or a painting or a work of art, or if I'm in front of a library with 100 books, the titles you can read, those can become a distraction. But it should also not be plain and boring. Okay? Bottom line, my background should not compete for my attention or for people of me getting the attention of my audience. So we got some responses here, 1 and 4, 2 and 4. Okay. Let's quickly go through. Elaine, can you get to our next batch of tips on call proper, please? Maybe just quickly get to the call proper tips. Call proper tips here. While waiting for the meeting to start, there are 6 things that we'd like you to pay attention to. Number 1, check. You already know that. Number 2, we really encourage you to do that. Yes. But the biggest excuse of people here is my internet connection is weak. I apologize in advance because I will have to say this. It's becoming an excuse. Yes. You know that when you have to do FaceTime with your friends, correct? Or your family members who are far away, regardless of how strong or weak your internet connection, you will log in on video. Yes? And what I'm saying here is that we have video, leverage it, use it. Now, it doesn't have to be video on for the entire meeting because definitely it will slow down the meeting. What about just saying, hello, good morning, who are the people here? Hi, how nice to see you. You cut your hair short. Okay, I like your dress today. Just to provide that, venue for quick interpersonal connection. And then the leader stays video on. The others can turn video off. But let's make this a rule. Whoever will speak will also have to turn video on. Yes, let's utilize video. A lot of us are saying, lack of in-person, we don't see people. Turn your video on and you will be able to pick up body language. Make your presence felt. Here's one thing that I observe. People log into calls and remain quiet. No? Perhaps they don't want to be noticed. Does that happen in conference rooms before? People come into conference rooms and people moving in a sleazy manner. No? People are trying to not get attention. No, when you enter the room, you greet people make your presence felt. Whether you're leading or participating, do small talk. Check on others who have yet to join. Not wait for the time and waiting for people who else has to join, which leads to the disruption of the meeting. And collaboration means whether you're a team leader, meeting presider, or meeting attendee, and make sure that everybody who joins gets that warm welcome. If the problem is lack of in-person presence and interpersonal connection, these things while waiting for the meeting to start will work. I know of some teams, they mandate a 5-minute, if the meeting is happening at 10 o'clock, 9:55, they're trying to check in so that they can talk about non-work related stuff. Yes, as a possible stress buster. Now, the call proper is predictably when you present the agenda, you open, discuss, agree, and close. You're all familiar with this. Agenda 1, this is the information, we agree, and we close. Now, what I would encourage some of you to do, especially leaders, please do a quick roll call or simul greeting to really start the meeting on an engaging note. So what I do, okay, LJMB team, let's start the meeting. Everybody, please unmute and say good morning to everyone. We hear each other's voices. Video, we see faces, we hear voices. That's the personal connection. But please greet with enthusiasm. 9 people who are enthusiastic, 1 people with bad vibes is enough to bring the team spirit down. Yes? Because now people will ask, oh, who's that? Who's that? Who's that with that voice? Lacks the energy. The team leader may need to introduce participants with roles. And just like that slide that I saw earlier, the LJMB meeting rules, just flash it so that people know when we call their attention. That's part of our tips later. When we call their attention, it's part of the meeting rules. It's nothing personal. Let's go to number 10. Some of these I may already have mentioned. Developing new habits. So when about to speak, don't speak first. Look at your screen. Yes, look at that mute button. Develop that habit. Say your name first because people may not know who's talking. Unmute. Hi, this is Louie. Now they know who you are. Sometime in the recent past, somebody said, hi, I have a suggestion. Who said, who's speaking? The person revealed her name. I did not even recognize her voice. That's why you have to introduce yourself, which is also best if you show your video on. After speaking, you have to signal that you've stopped speaking. You know, the intonation can do that. But sometimes some people don't, leave us hanging. They say something very abruptly and we are all waiting for the finale or the punchline that never comes, right? So, say, that's it for me. Or back to you, Louie. Right? Because, every second counts. We do not want dead air in the room. Now, for item 11, this is about avoiding dead air in the room. Okay? There's just some distortions here, maybe because of formatting. To avoid dead air, call specific people in the room. I don't ask a question and then wait for somebody, a volunteer, to answer. I will ask a question. Gigs, can you please answer first? And then Kenneth, and then Blaine, and then Manoharan. And if I need everybody's input, I'll just say, I'll go around the room. I'll just look at the video thumbnails here, allow people to pass, and then recap the opinions and votes later. Give people an option. Some people are not comfortable to speak up. We will not force them. We will build their confidence. Some may utilize the chat room. And the corresponding expectation for team members is when you get called by the leader, be ready to contribute and respond. And also be on point with your responses. And because you are ready to respond for team members, here are some of the lines that you may use. Because sometimes you don't know what to say. You're put on the spot. Yes? What do you think? And you don't know what to say. So the first thing that you say is, So just choose from here. What do you think? What I like most? Or if you don't like it, say it. My biggest takeaway, what I agree with, what I disagree with, What I can add is, or I encourage that we have a call to action to our teammates. Yes, leaders are not the only ones, should not be the only ones who dominate the conversation nowadays. Okay? I mentioned about the breakout earlier. There are buttons on Zoom that you can create. You need to plan for this very carefully. Assign people into the right breakout rooms, and then be ready with the step-by-step process in assigning people to join which breakout room. Typically, a participant will receive this invite. When the participant clicks this one, then you go to that breakout room, and you also have to go out at a certain time. Sometimes it's automatically set. Sometimes it's also being managed by a marshal or co-facilitator in the room. Okay? So we're going to skip the trial and now go to our additional tips. The last batch of tips that I'd like to share. For any interruptions, whether you are leaders or teammates, be ready for plan B. The next presenter is not ready yet with the slides, okay? And you do small talk, or you just move to the next agenda item. Or, what do you do when some people are not observing the mute and unmute? What do you do when people have background noise? You have to call it out. Okay? I'm sure you experienced this. There's an irritant, an ongoing source of irritation, background noise, and nobody is trying to call it out. Everybody's trying to, just bear with it. Yes. Until somebody, after a few seconds, will have to speak up. No. As a matter of habit, always say, reminder to put your gadgets on mute or to unmute before speaking. We will need to, put people aware, keep them on their toes that there are new behaviors that we have to do. Do you find the need to also interrupt people in your meetings? Sometimes, especially team leaders who facilitate meetings. When you need to interrupt, here are two suggestions. That person will have to stop. That person will pause because he has to breathe. Yes? And one of the ways to also interrupt somebody is to mention the name of the person. Okay? Either unmute, mention your name. Hi, this is Louie. Or if you want to interrupt, what name can I have here? Unmute and call, for example, hi, Roland. The sweetest sound of all, your name will be enough for that person to stop. And then you can say your piece.
Hi, this is Louie Banta, CEO and Chief Consultant of LJMB, or Learning Just Made Better. Thanks for watching my video. To get more videos like this, click subscribe and hit the bell icon below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and share this to others.